If there's anything you know about me, it's probably the fact that I absolutely love Kyle Draum. And today I'm going to show you my unhealthy devotion by trying to put his face on my nails. But before I start, I will have to warn you that I am definitely not a licensed nail technician. I'm just an idiot who spent too much money on nail products. Although this fact is probably very obvious without me having to tell you. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's start with the most important part. Kyle himself. And if you're thinking that I painted him by hand on my nail completely from scratch, well, you probably think too highly of me. No, instead I did this by using an ancient art technique known as tracing. I prepared this art of Kyle in advance and then traced it in a size small enough to roughly fit the surface of my nail. Oh wait, you also need to flip the image before you do this, which I actually almost forgot to do. I fucked up. If you're hearing this, it means I fucked up. Anyway, after I actually flipped the image this time, I secured it with a tape under the silicone nail art mat. And after that, I could finally get to the scariest part. Actually making the nail design. First, I covered my work area with a fast dry top coat. It's important to use a top coat instead of just clear polish, otherwise it will be really bad. After it had fully dried, I began by doing the line art with black acrylic paint. It's better to use acrylic paint instead of nail polish for stuff like this, because it's much easier to work with. I've learned this one at the YouTube nail school. While I'm trying my best to keep my hands steady, let me ask you, what do you think Kyle would say if he saw this? Also, do you guys think Kyle is the type to wear nail polish himself? I think he would wear black. Anyway, after making sure the line art had dried, I proceeded with the color. At this stage, painting over the lines doesn't really matter, so it's a bit easier than the previous step. After I was done and all the paint was dry, I sealed everything with another thick layer of top coat. And after watching even more things dry, it was finally time for me to peel off the complete design. Ha, you thought. No, the actual next step is preparing the nail which I'm gonna put Kyle on. I'm gonna be using gel polish because I want all this effort to actually last. This is where I have to admit that, unfortunately, I did not record the painting process and only have the in-between results because my setup cost $3. That said, I began by painting the nail black until it was fully opaque. Then I used this pretty purple magnetic polish because it was giving very Kyle. And you can see me trying to show you the results after applying the first layer, which my get-ass phone camera simply refused to show. Well, at least I finally picked up the purple after the second layer. Good enough, I guess. Okay, now that the background is done, this is the part where we finally peel off the DIY sticker. I flipped it over one more time before sticking it all on my nail. Once again, I lack footage of this, but after finding the best spot for Kyle's face, I used my cuticle pusher to basically sever off the excess stick around my nail bed and filed off the extra tip bits with a file. Now, you can kinda see that Kyle is refusing to fully stay on my nails, so I used an acid-free primer around the edges to seal him off for good. Now, this is also a good time to take more acrylic paint and fix any minor mistakes made during the line art phase. And when I'm finally satisfied, I finish the thumb off with a top coat. Okay, after spending a ridiculous amount of time to do my thumb, it's finally time to get on with the rest of my hand. I decided to do the same thing that I did for Kyle's background on my other nails, except for the ring one. And yes, I suddenly have a band-aid on my finger because I had cut it on something and I have absolutely zero clue how the hell that even happened. Sometimes I just have random ass cuts on my hand and I have absolutely no idea where they even came from. Can anyone else relate? Anyway, for my ring finger I applied the same purple polish, except without using the magnet. I decided to make it look like that brooch thing Kyle has on his collar, so I prepared another custom sticker of that star thing or whatever he has. Yeah, I'm making it a sticker because I do not trust myself to paint it straight onto my nail. After sticking it on, I repeated the same process of sealing it with a primer before topping it off. And if you're thinking that this nail turned out looking kinda bulky, that's because it is. I'm not quite sure what caused this, besides this nail also being a gel tip, since my real nail broke literally the same week I was planning to film this. If any actual nail people know how I can prevent this happening again, please do let me know. But other than that, the Draum nails are finally done, yay! This whole thing definitely didn't take me a ridiculous amount of time. But at least now I have nails that would make Hyrendel jealous. Anyway guys, should I put even more dragonnest characters on my nails? Who should it be? Leave your suggestions and tips in the comments. Now I'm gonna go and try my best to keep these nails from peeling off. Peace out.